What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Total Takedown. We're talking overs and unders for UFC 315. We try to find you a different angle on this show so that you can make some extra cash. We're going to go over my favorite totals here on the board. This card, I'll tell you guys, I like this much more from a side perspective than a total perspective. I know sometimes we hunt and sniff out excellent value on some of these totals props, but this is a really tough week for totals in my opinion. We'll go ahead and go over it anyway, but just to forewarn you, do me a favor, get subscribed if you haven't already and hit that like button while you're here. First total I want to talk to you about. Daniel Santos takes on Jung Young Lee. We've got a 2.5 total. The under is -130. I like violence in this spot here. I don't think this fight is going the distance. Daniel Santos has had injury issues. He's had a hard time making it to the cage, and he's moving up a weight class because of it. So he's already not the biggest 135er on the planet, but now he's up at 145 where he's going to be at a huge size discrepancy disadvantage here. And Jung Young Lee is a very volatile fighter. He likes to come forward. He likes to bite down on his mouthpiece. We've seen him when he gets caught, his first instinct is to swing. This guy can end up in a barn burner firefight at any point in time. Daniel Santos, I think, is the more skilled of these two fighters. Jung Young Lee, however, packs a punch and is the larger of the two fighters. We have seen Daniel Santos cracked, wobbled, and hurt. He's been able to recover and come back from that, but that's down at 135 pounds. I'm not entirely certain that if Jung Young Lee doesn't crack Daniel Santos at 145, that could be the difference maker for his chin. I also think Daniel Santos could get Jung Young Lee to the ground and potentially have a submission advantage once he gets down on the mat. There's lots of ways this fight finishes. If I'm doing anything, I'm playing violence here. Under 2.5, -130. Modestus Balcus and Ion Coutaba is the next total I want to talk to you guys about. The over is set at 1.5, which usually we steer clear of these, but this is a -150, -155 type of over 1.5, and I think that makes sense. Modestus Balcus, even though his last fight was a barn burner, he charged forward, he knocked the guy out immediately. That is not normally how he fights. He likes to skate around the outside of the big cage. He likes to use his footwork. He likes to try to set up counters and walk you into big shots. Ion Coutaba is a marauder. He comes forward. He's a bull in a china shop. He wants to put hands on you and drag you down to the ground. He is well known for his first round finishes. However, he also has the ability to slow the pace down. He has the ability to wrestle, and that's something we've seen work on Modestus Balcus. That forward pressure does eventually get to him. So Modestus is more of a decision guy to begin with. So if he's winning, I'm not saying he's going to win this thing by knockout. Ion is more of a finisher. He could end the fight here in round one. However, with Modestus' movement and footwork and size, I do think it will take him a little bit longer to get to him. So I think it's going to be a round two, round three finish for Ion Coutaba, or it'll end up being a grind and a decision that could go either way. Damage versus control type situation, which leads me to over 1.5. And I don't think that one's even all that bad. If there's a total on this card to bet, I think that might be the one. Gondraj and Judicious in the next fight. Another 2.5 total. Over 2.5, -160. Under 2.5, +125. We've talked about this before. These women's MMA finishers, once the market gets word that they finish, if you start getting these even money or even these chalked unders, that's how the fight goes. Like, the market knows the women that get it done inside the distance, and Jazz is one of them. So is Gondraj, frankly, but up at 125 pounds, Gondraj is far more susceptible to the grappling, to the submissions. She's at a strength disadvantage. We've seen it time and time again. I think Jazz is going to get her out of there in the second or the third round, but I also want to say there's a little bit of value left on this number because Gondraj can wing bombs. If this is a failed step up in competition for Jazz, even though she has the height advantage, she'll be at a striking disadvantage for the most part. Gondraj can still hurt anybody. If she lands a big old hook on a floating rib or something like that, you're going down. So I totally think that Gondraj has KO ability, but I think that's going to be very front loaded early. Under 2.5, or if you can get an even money fight, doesn't go the distance, that's the way I would take this fight. Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fioro in your co-main event. 4.5 total. Over is -315. Now, I only mention that because I think it's a decent parlay piece, you guys. I can't see this fight finishing inside the distance. Now, I know Valentina Shevchenko had her back taken by Alexa Grasso. She got submitted. She lost her belt. But that's really the only time we've seen her finished in that kind of a manner. Manon Fioro does not have that type of slick jiu-jitsu, and she is far more of a striker. So if this fight plays out the way I think it is, it's going to be a lot of striking. Val will mix in some takedowns, but I don't think either of these women is going to find the hole to actually destroy their opponent. I don't think we're going to get a knockout. I don't think we're going to finish. I think this fight is going the full 25 minutes, and the judges will have to render their decision on this thing. So if Valentina is able to go ahead and mix in the grappling, and if she's not, a fraction of herself, if she's still the champion that we know and love and still has something to give, I don't think she gets finished here. So I'm going to say over 4.5, and I don't mind using that as a parlay piece if you don't want to pick a side in this title fight. Finally, we'll talk about the main event here for just a second. Belal Muhammad takes on Jack Della Maddalena. And the total, once again, is 4.5. I'm going to go a little bit tinfoil cap here, and I'm going to say under, you guys. Under 4.5 is plus 155. Fight doesn't go the distance. It's probably plus 120, something like that, even money. And I don't think this fight goes. I really don't. Belal Muhammad, I know, is a decision machine. However, he's got capable striking. He's got enough force in his hands. He TKO'd Sean Brady. We saw that. And Jack Della doesn't have the 5-round experience at the UFC level for us to really, rely on to say that he's capable of going that far. So if this is a 25-minute fight, it's Jack's first time doing it, there's that rare opportunity that Belal can find his way to a late finish, because Jack just can't hang with the kind of pace Belal sets for 25 straight minutes. On the flip side of this, if Jack Della finishes, if he wins this fight, I think it's via finish. How often is Jack going to pick and poke at somebody with the striking that he has and not actually put them away or put them down? Belal Muhammad in his early days, Vicente Luque, he got cracked, he got put away in that fight. I think that's the way you get to him, is you actually have to hurt him enough to finish him. We saw Leon Edwards have some success, got on top of him, opened up a big old cut on him and had him hurt in the 5th round. These are the types of things that we have seen happen. So if Jack is going to come in here and upset the apple cart, steal the belt, ruin my night, if that happens, it's inside the distance. He's going to rip the body. Belal will be tired and gas out. He's going to be able to go to the head. He'll do damage. I don't think Belal goes 25 minutes with Jack Della and loses a decision. I simply can't see that taking place. So I think there is sneaky violence opportunity here in this main event, and the numbers should tell you that, because it's a Belal Muhammad fight, and this should be a minus 500 to the over 4.5, because he only ever wins by decision, right? But it's only minus 200, and they're giving you a plus 155 on the under 4.5. I think we see a violent main event. I think Belal shows out, he keeps his title, and he shows Jack Della that he's not quite ready for this level of MMA. That is the Total Takedown, you guys. We'll see a little bit later for Clint's hot props. And then, of course, we've got the undefeated post-weigh-in show tomorrow and the Sharp Action Report. See you guys soon. Let's roll.